Hello, and today we'll continue with Reconnected. The gentle confirmation of his affection is warming, in spite of the chilly sensation caused by the touch itself. He made me expand upon my thoughts on of Zenithir, probably trying to weed out any latent animosity I might have towards my situation. Simply put, Callus was searching for any deeper motive, one that might have spurred me to commit the original murders. I shuddered a bit at the thought, but forced myself to hear them out. Right, that deeper motivation Callus was talking about. Did he find one? A motive, I mean? Do you have one? Kai laughs a little against me, patting me on the arm. That sounds mildly like an accusation, little one. Do you secretly believe your roommate is a bloodthirsty killer? Hey, that's not what I meant at all, hey. I'm kidding, Plover. I'm kidding. I'm not nearly as proficient with sarcasm as you are. Something I probably should practice, in all honesty. No, I do not have a reason to do the things he wishes I did. You and I are both aware of the fact that neither of us are particularly fond of the Zenithirians. I may have a deeper dislike towards them than you, but no, I do not wish harm upon anyone. Except perhaps both of us. Why, how could I have forgotten? I guess this does confirm one thing, though. Talos was just trying to pit us against each other, trying to make me doubt Kai. Talos was right. Talos was just trying to pit us against each other, trying to make me doubt Kai. What a classic manipulative piece of garbage. You know? Besides being a Vulperian, he hasn't actually done anything wrong, right? I hear a Atlantic growl rumble through his chest almost instantly at my words. I do not care. That Anwok is guilty by association. His people are nothing but trouble, and I refuse to tolerate it. Hearing Kai stereotype Voltros and grouping in with the rest of the Vulperians like that doesn't particularly sit well with me. Just because his people are doing something awful doesn't really mean Voltros agrees with it. Then again, it's entirely possible that Voltros does agree with it, and I'm just being a bit of a devil's advocate here. It's probably best I just drop it and move on. Kai knows the Vulperians better than anyone, so his judgment is probably best, even if it is a little unsettling. Alright, Kai, I understand. I'm just glad that, at least for now, we have Talos off our backs. Kai nods, resuming his casual touches on my shoulder, but there's an underlying feeling of uncertainty there. Yes, for now, I can say this is true. But Plover, I massage his lower back gently with my paw pads, attempting to soothe whatever is going on beneath the surface with him. Hopefully my touches are comfortable to him. The last thing I want to do is make him uncomfortable. Yeah? What is it, Kai? He sighs as we round the corner. Well up ahead, I can see the lush grounds of Aurelia blooming in the distance. I will not lie. I'm a bit afraid. Afraid of what? Kai isn't afraid of anything, at least nothing that I know of, anyways. Afraid? What do you mean, big guy? Another deep exhale escapes the Crip Wolf's muzzle, the very silent self-evidence of his frustrations. I'm afraid what the future might hold in store for us, little wolf. Have you not stopped to consider what will occur when the next murder happens? Make no mistake, there will be another murder. This individual, whomever they may be, is still at large. Who knows what terrible things will come to pass moving forward. And given what has occurred here today, I know that it will most likely be the two of us that they will blame for it. The thought is unsettling for me, to say the least. I do not wish to see any harm befall you, or me for that matter, even if I would gladly bear such things in your stead. His sweet sentiment is concerning. Kai's disregard for his own self-preservation isn't something that I expect of him. Make no mistake, I know what he means. This is just his way of expressing that he cares for me, but it doesn't make it any easier to hear that he gladly offered himself up to protect me. How deeply that care runs, though, that's yet to be seen. I take a moment to mull over his words, trying to analyze more fully the points he's making. He's right. He never really thought about the next murder. That cycle is out there. There is going to be more of this in the future, and we have to be ready for it. I've been so preoccupied with what happened yesterday that I never really stopped to think about what we're actually going to do about this predicament we find ourselves in. We can't just sit back and do nothing, but at the same time, we can't really get directly involved without seeming even more suspicious than we already do. Clover, there's one thing I still do not fully understand, and I would like you to explain it for me, if you are capable of doing so. His words yanked me out of my ruminating, pulling me fully into the moment. Kai seems so hesitant to ask this, I could hear it in his voice. He really is scared. I'm not really sure what has him feeling like this, but the last thing I want is for him to be afraid to talk to me. Yeah, what's up? As my question settles, we finally set foot on the verdant grass of the campus, a soothing wind caressing the nape of my neck, tickling at my fur with its ethereal tendrils. On second thought, given the nature and severity of my question, perhaps it is best if we had this conversation within the confines of our room, little one. Even if I have no idea what he's talking about, it's probably a good idea to talk away from a place where there might be curious ears. Alright, Kai, sounds good to me. Let's get back to the room. We finish this short walk to our building, traversing the barren common room. Soon enough, the hallway comes into view. The cornered off area that was there this morning had vanished, leaving the scene completely vacant. There's no blood, no body, no gore. Just a massive hole in the ceiling, acting as a constant reminder of the dangers we're facing. We arrive at our door, 22T, and I open it up with a hint of nervousness. As my paw swipes across the control panel, the room bathes itself in a familiar blue glow. A Theron's blade rests stoically as ever against the inlaid wall, shining faintly against the bright lights now filling the space around us. Kai quickly discards his shirt, casting it into the hamper, and I can't help but notice that he's avoiding eye contact with me. The fur all over his now bare torso is slightly bristled as he confronts whatever burning question rests tantalizingly on the front of his mind. His massive tail gently sways back and forth, creating a soft rustling sound as it brushes against the fabric of his bed. So what's your question, Kai? Whatever it is, I promise you I'll answer it. I'm an open book. Normally this wouldn't really be the case. I do tend to be a bit more reserved and keep to myself. But not now, not after what happened, not with Kai. I walk over and sit down myself beside him, closing the gap between us so the conversation can at least seem more personable. He nods at my words and casually rests his heavy paw gently upon my knee, as he settles himself atop the covers and blankets. I don't hate the gesture, but it does feel a bit intimate, too intimate. Plover, I hoped that I would not have to ask such a thing because I cannot begin to imagine what horrors it is that you have experienced here on Zendalir. But Talus is right. Talus is very right, and therefore the situation demands honesty. I feel the anxious pit in my stomach become a little more imposing as I try to process. What the fuck does he mean Talus is right? That psychopath just has beaten, shamed, falsely accused, and probably would have had us in a containment cell by now if Jace hadn't shown up to our rescue when he did. What are you talking about, Kai? Did you hear me, Plover? His grip on my leg remained soft, but I noticed his claws prickling down into my fur ever so slightly. Yeah, I heard you, Kai. I just don't understand. What was Talus right about? Kai lifts his head up, matching my confused expression, head on with stoic and rigid features. Talus said that it is far too coincidental that your episodes with those 2 nights occurred in the exact spot the murders took place. These things just do not happen, little one. Aetherion teaches that everything occurs for a reason, even if we may not understand the meaning at first. Talus is right. Your actions do elicit a sense of, I do not like to use this word, but I cannot think of a better one. Premeditation. Kai flinches a bit as he mutters the finale of his sentence, the mere thought that I did those things on purpose tasting bitter on his lips. So I wish to understand. I wish to understand exactly what you saw during your dreams. What is the reason, Plover? I do not intend to accuse you, but a reason simply must exist. I cannot keep you safe if you do not tell me. I cannot keep you safe from whatever is out there, and most importantly, keep you safe from yourself. Safe from myself. Kai isn't afraid of some invisible killer. He isn't afraid of what might happen to him or the next victim. No, nothing like that. He's afraid of losing me. Afraid I might be lost to whatever fucked up things are living inside my head. Kai removes his paw from me, separating all contact at my continued silence. Take all the time you need to formulate your thoughts, little one. I'm in no rush. My instincts are telling me to get defensive at his words, to tell him that I'm not some weak damsel in need of saving. But after seeing the things I was doing and saying in the footage, I'm not so sure that's the case anymore. My nightmares, my hallucinations, is there really a deeper meaning behind it all? Or is it just some fucked up star-sick symptom that's going to fade away in a week's time? I think I know the answer, but much like Kai, I'm too afraid to say it. Too afraid to admit that this rabbit hole might be getting a little too close to Wonderland. I'm not sure a reason does exist, Kai, but I'll tell you what I know, okay? Or at least what I can remember. Kai nods eagerly, turning his body to give me his full attention. His paw quickly moves to take mine into his clutches as he attempts to give me all the support he can offer. Of course, I assure you, I shall remain silent until you have finished. Well, time to put it all on the table, I suppose. He deserves the truth, the bloody, horrifying, gruesome truth. The first night that I was in the hall is a bit fuzzy in my mind, if I'm being honest. I remember seeing myself in the room, standing at the window when I heard something or someone calling to me. It was like they knew me and knew me well. I can't explain where that feeling came from, but it's true. The voice knew me. It wanted me to go into the hall. It wanted me to follow it. I tried to fight it. I swear I did, Kai, but it's not like I had a choice. I didn't want to follow it, but it's almost like I had to. It wasn't up to me. Kai's eyes grow wide, and I could see his breathing becoming a bit more shallow and rapid as he clings onto my every word like his life depends on it. And when I was there, my words get stuck in my throat, gripped and held captive by some unseen force that refuses to let them escape. Kai inches closer towards me, his hip pressing against my side. Know us, little one. Just breathe. Just breathe through it. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I know he is. Nothing's going to happen when Kai's around, and I'm confident of that. I take a deep breath, willing the words out of my throat by force, fighting back the urge to choke on them. It said that it was happy I was there, that it had been waiting for me, or something like that. And then I saw it. I saw the voice. Kai freezes in place, no longer soothing me with his strong yet gentle touches. You saw it? What did it look like? The image is burned into my mind, burned into my very being. Eyes, Kai. A pair of glowing red eyes. They weren't attached to anything I could see. They were just there. Just there, like they had always been and always would be. They said that they weren't going to let me go, that I belonged to them. Then, just like that, I woke up and I saw you standing next to me. My throat was dry as a desert and I felt like I couldn't breathe. I had all the air in my I had all I had all the air in the world, and not a drop of it was allowed to enter my lungs. It's as if I was being choked out by a singular massive claw. Kai gulps audibly, the sound rippling out into the room, his sock matching the ambiguity. Kai gulps audibly, the sound rippling out into the room, his sock matching the ambiguity of the situation in equal force. Clover, I had no idea you were seeing such things. That is dark, twisted. Do you need a moment to compose yourself, or are you ready to continue? Am I ready? No. But I don't really have much of a choice now, do I? I give a forced chuckle, trying to lighten the mood a little even if I know it's not really going to help much. Yeah, Kai, I'm fine, I promise. The second morning, it was a lot more intense, to put it lightly. Shit, I really wish I didn't have to tell him this to his face. I'd much rather just push it out of my mind altogether and pretend it never existed. Unfortunately, avoiding reality isn't really a luxury we can afford anymore. It's like I said the day of. You ate me. Kai nods solemnly, like it's ashamed of what that dark, spectral version of himself did to me in my nightmare. I'm still so sorry for that, little one. The fact that your mind was able to fabricate such things and pains me greatly, even now. I rest my head against his shoulder, finding comfort in his resolute presence at my side. Okay, Kai. I know it wasn't the real you. I know you never do anything like that. You don't have anything to feel guilty for. Kai allows himself to relax at my admission, taking a deep breath. I'm glad you recognize such things. He doesn't say anything further, allowing me all the space in the world to continue my story at my own pace. Well, after that happened, I saw the eyes again, inside you. inside me. What do you mean? You mean you still retained your sentience after that terrible thing occurred? I nod against his wizard arm, my pointy ears brushed against his furred chin. Yes, I was awake for all of it. I felt everything, smelled everything. I heard your heartbeat inside my head during the whole thing. I was alive the entire time. Kai stutters, horrified by the mere thought of it. Inside you, outside the eyes. But this time it was different. The voice behind them was stronger and far more powerful. I couldn't move, couldn't talk. I could barely keep myself conscious as they stared at me. They said that I was their slave and that they could do whatever they wanted with me, whenever they wanted to do it. Gods were living, this is fucking hard. I know I have to keep going and tell him everything I can remember, even if it isn't very much, but I really don't want to. They said that they would come find me again in 9 days, and when they did, they would devour me too. I wanted to take my body and devour it, but keep my mind around forever. Kai snarls, a deep and dangerous warning. I shall not let this happen. That fate shall not happen to you, little one. I refuse. His sudden change in demeanor takes me a bit by surprise, and I look up to see his dangerous fangs on full display. Kai, nothing's going to happen to me, okay? This is just a dream. I don't know why I was in the hall. I don't know the significance of it, but this wasn't real. Kai shakes his head vehemently, refusing to hear another word. Clover, you are the smartest person I know, far more clever than the Xenos, and much more aware of yourself. Look me in the eyes and tell me that you truly believe this is a coincidence. Surely you must know as well as I do that this is something far more than bad luck. As terrifying and horrific as these dreams are, and whether they are caused from star sickness or not, we cannot deny that they are real. We cannot simply brush them off as if they mean nothing. They happen, and they happen for a reason. We must embrace this. How do you not see this, Plover? I don't know what to say, but he does have a point, I guess. And it's not like I have any previous experiences to go off of. I've never been sick like this before, and I've certainly never been caught up in the middle of a serial killer's fucked up schemes. Who knows, maybe they are not just fairy tales after all. Things on the Xenolayer are rarely what they seem to be. Okay, Kai, say I believe you. Say I buy into what you're saying, and these are visions or warnings from who the fuck knows where. How does this change anything? So what if they're real? What the hell are we supposed to do about it? You heard what Talos said, same as I. We have to stay out of trouble and keep our heads down if we don't want to end up right back in those chairs with peacekeeper weapons at our throats. Kai's growl intensifies as he stands up off the bed, towering over me like a black thundercloud. His purple eyes are ravaging fears, literally flashing with luminescence. The last time I saw that look, he hit me. When he speaks, his voice is dark and commanding, leaving no room for discussion. What are we going to do, Plover? He raises one claw, pointing it directly at my eyes. I feel like one as clever as you should know the answer to this question already, but since you do not, I will spell it out for you. Over my dead body where I allow something to happen to you. If this apparition in your mind is telling you it intends to harm you in 9 days' time, then we are going to put a stop to it. His tone becomes even more dire and intense, his whole body quivering with tension and pent-up frustrations. I failed to protect those I care about in the past because of my lack of decisiveness and unwillingness to take action. I will not make the same mistake twice. 9 days? Then we are going to solve this mystery. and find this killer. Whomever they might be, we will find them before you become their next target, Plover. 9 days is more than enough time for a quick wolf and a Solarian to find the one responsible for all this. It is clear that Talos is clueless. He has no leads, nothing to go off of. We cannot leave our fates to be controlled by the Xenolarians. It is time that we take fate into our own paws and decide it through our own actions, little one. We are going to solve this, one way or another. You have my word. Kai's breathing is heavy and ragged, consumed with the unwavering determination of one that will stop at nothing to do what he believes is right. He stares right into my eyes, challenging me to take up the task that's been set before us. He's right. It's guessing if the dreams are real or not something I really want to bet my life on. The Xenolarians aren't going to be able to solve a damn thing. They're far too preoccupied with their own political machinations to dig a little deeper and consider the events through a different point of view. That's why I was chosen for this program, after all. My ability to see things from a different perspective, to consider all the angles. So if it's my life, no, our lives that are on the line here, then I'm all in. Okay, Kai, you're right. We can't sit back and let our fate be decided by others, so let's do this. Kai's expression breaks, turning into one of stoic confidence as he grins down at me. I may not be one of the smartest here on Xenolar, but you are. You can do this, Plover, and I will do everything I can to help you through this. He quickly sets himself on the bed beside me, so close I could feel the warmth of my body being leached into his as he wraps me around in a side hug. His voice is a calm whisper, filled with a gentleness that belies his powerful stature. This is your journey, Plover. You are the one receiving these dreams, not me. But that does not mean you have to walk this path alone. But that does not mean you have to walk this path alone, little one. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. My body melts into Kai's as I allow myself to be accepted fully into his arctic embrace. The comfortingly familiar scent of sage and pine caresses my senses as I allow myself to lean into him. Thank you, Kai. A soft rumbling purr floats from his chest into mine, soothing my bracing nerves. So tell me, little one, where do we start? Well, that's one hell of a question, Kai. I pull myself away from his ever so slightly, just so that I can speak without getting a muzzle full of black fur. Well, for starters, there's one little clarification. I had the dream yesterday, which means that today is the 8th day, not the 9th. It's also pretty late, so soon it's going to be the 7th. Kai groans a bit at the realization that we don't have as much time as he initially anticipated. 1 week. To my surprise, he smiles down at me, his gleaming white fangs just a few inches away from my eyes. Under any other conditions, it would be a pretty intimidating sight, but now it's oddly comforting. For a mind as brilliant as yours, I would not be surprised if you were able to solve this in 2. 7 days is more than enough time, so long as we stay focused. He pulls away from me, laying his head back on his pillow and rests his legs across my lap as he closes his eyes. Each one of his appendages is as thick as a tree trunk and twice as strong. He's being awfully comfortable. Hugs and stuff like that is totally fine, but this is a welcoming sight that Kai is allowing himself to express his feelings as they come to him. But yeah, I guess I'm just a little uncomfortable by it, for now at least. We have more important things to be focusing on in the moment. What happens in the club? Well, what happened in the club was a product of pent-up desire, strong alcohol, and it probably shouldn't have been. And it probably shouldn't have happened in the first place. I'm not upset it happened, but I can't help but feel like we've already taken things a step too far, given the amount of time that we know one another. Of course, I want Kai to be happy and comfortable, but I also want things to be taken, well, a little bit slower. I mean, I still have no fucking clue what's going on behind the scenes with him and Kiara. And until that's sorted, I think I want to hold off on being more. I force myself to swallow and tap him on the leg with a gentle paw. Kai, one of those luminescent irises pops open, rubbing my body up and down. Yes, little one. Have you something more to say? I hook my forearm under his leg, trying to dislodge it. No chance in hell could I get him off of me by force. He's gonna have to move him. He's gonna have to move him himself. He's gonna have to move him. He's gonna have to move them himself, and I do owe it to him to be honest and upfront. So regardless, yeah. Do you mind getting comfortable in a different position? My voice is filled with hesitation and nervousness as I nod down to his muscled legs, pinning me to the bed. Ah, I have made you uncomfortable. He quickly withdraws himself from my lap, sitting up against the headboard as he folds his legs crisscross in front of him. My apologies. I did not wish to make you feel this way. I assume since his deep rumbling voice trails off, unable to finish his sentence as he's gonna have to move him. He's gonna have to move them himself, and I do owe it to him to be honest and upfront regardless. Yeah. Do you mind getting comfortable in a different position? My voice is filled with hesitation and nervousness as I nod down to his muscled legs pinning me to the bed. Ah, I have made you uncomfortable. He quickly withdraws himself from my lap, sitting up against the headboard as he folds his legs crisscross in front of him. My apologies. I did not wish to make you feel this way. I assumed since. His deep rumbling voice trails off, unable to finish his sentence as he realizes the error of his accents. I'm deeply and truly sorry. Gods be damned. This isn't how I wanted him to feel. No, nothing like that, Kai. He looks up at me, confusing what all over his rugged features. Look, I want us to be like this, truly, I do. That's not the problem here. It's just that this is a bit sudden, no? I hope he gets what I'm going for here. Fucking hell, why is it so hard to talk to him sometimes? I'm afraid that I do not understand Little Wolf. Perhaps I have misread your intentions with me. My paw shoots up into the air, waving side to side rapidly as I stop his train of thought dead his tracks. Not at all. You haven't misread a thing. I sigh deeply, rubbing one of my claws across the length of my muzzle. Look, let's just be honest with each other, okay? I want to figure us out just as much as you do. I want to be close and cuddly just as much as you do, but at the same time there are some things we need to solve first. Don't you think? Kai cocks his head to one side, tilting his ears forward with curiosity, cueing me to continue. Like, for example, I don't really know what's going on with you and Kiara. I feel like there's And I feel like that's a pretty important stepping stone we have to cross if we're going to, be a thing. It's true. I have no context for what his situation with Kiara is. I know they're having actually, I don't know a damn thing. I can, I can pretend and trick myself into. I can pretend and trick myself into believing that they're not really a couple, but all evidence thus far. I know they're having actually, I don't know a damn thing. I can pretend and trick myself into believing that they're not really a couple, but all evidence thus far would suggest otherwise. I guess I just want to know where they stand with each other before I do anything else with Kai. Ah, I see your point now, Plover. Yes, perhaps it would be wise for me to settle that first before I allow myself to continue on with us, whatever that might entail. Kai's shoulders slumped down as he understands just how forward he was being, and it sort of sparked some guilt within me. Kai, buddy, I know that things aren't really straightforward in regards to Kiara. That much was confirmed when I read those messages the other day. I'm not going to pressure you into revealing anything you don't want to. I guess what I'm saying is that until I know what's going on with her, I don't want to take this any further than what we already have. Does that make sense? I obviously know what I want to happen, but it's not really my choice now, is it? This is up to you, not me. I'm no homewrecker, and I'm certainly am not going to be a part of cheating on anyone. I hesitate a bit with that last part, afraid that it might come across as more of an accusation than rather than a suggestion. Kai just nods, his chin brushing against his broad chest and ruffling up his fur. Sorry, Plover. I chuckle a bit at his self-chastisement. No need to be sorry, Kai. I know how hard life can be, and just how confused and complicated these things can be. Like, trust me, I know. I just think us setting up some boundaries with one another is healthy. Until we have something official between us, we can't be too touchy. Casual stuff is fine, but I don't really want anything beyond that, okay? Does that sound fair to you? Kai lifts his head up, and I feel a spark of courage igniting inside him, evident through his more direct posture. Yes, the boundaries are fair, but may I be allowed to explain? I feel as if I have given you the wrong impression of me, which was never my intention. I did say in the street outside of Vortex that I had good reasons for not being forthcoming with my desires towards you, and that is true. Perhaps now is a good time as Perhaps now is as good a time as any for me to explain what I meant by that. All the nervousness and anxiety in my body fades away at his admission. I completely forgot that he had said that. I was just too caught up in the moment. That's all I want to know. Well, that's all I want for now, Kai. So if you're offering, then I'm all ears. So what's really going on, big guy? I lean forward, trying my best to show him that I'm here to support him just as much as he supports me. I have always known that I am attracted to males. There had never been a moment in time where I stopped to consider that circumstance would force those feelings to be irrelevant. He's staring down at his paws nervously, playing with his claws to keep himself distracted. That was occurring between Kiara and myself. It is nothing more than a forced product of circumstance. Make no mistakes, he is truly an amazing creature as he has helped me in many ways. But I digress. She does not know who I am, and she does not know the extent of my desires. As far as she is concerned, I'm attracted to her. As far as she is concerned, I'm attracted to her. This is what resulted in the frustration she expressed in the day-pad messages. She does not know where my inability to complete intimate acts actually comes from. Wait, hold on. This isn't adding up. If he always knew he wasn't into women, then why would he? What's the reason? Go on, Kai. What's stopping you from calling things off? Better yet, why did you even get together with her in the first place? Was it an attempt to sort of, I don't know, change yourself? Is that it? Did you feel like you weren't allowed to be who you wanted to be, and this was your way of trying to fit in? My throat runs dry, and the mere thought of it, the thought of who you are being, basically, but the thought of you being, the thought of you, the thought of who you are being considered so reprehensible. Yet, why did you even get together with her in the first place? Was it an attempt to sort of, I don't know, change yourself? Is that it? Did you feel like you weren't allowed to be who you wanted to be, and this was your way of trying to fit in? My throat runs dry at the mere thought of it. The thought of who you are being considered so reprehensible that you would go to such drastic measures to force yourself to deny it. Gosh, I'm hoping wrong. Kai shakes his head, his breathing slow and deliberate. No, nothing like that, little one. I apologize. This is not something that is easy for me to accept, even now, but I do wish to confide in you, and I shall do as much. Kai finally lifts his head, looking directly into my eyes. There's a sadness there. What it stems from, I have no idea. All I know is that this is intense for him. Really intense. After I fled Kotera and arrived here on Zenithir, the Zenithirians told me of the true extent and damage that the Vorparian invasion had caused. What the true repercussions of our defeat at their paws would entail. They said that my species, my people are. He pauses mid-sentence and I can see him fighting back his emotions with every fiber of those giant muscles. They said that my species is endangered. That of all the Corterians that were able to escape to this world, there are very few Crypt Wolves. At the time of my arrival, I was informed that I am the only male that made it out. At least I was when I got here. I truly hope that there have been more of my Crypt Wolf brothers that made it off our planet to safety, but that information has not been shared with me if it is true. And as far as I'm aware, I'm the only one. My whole body seizes up at what he's trying to tell me, causing me to feel a bit dizzy. Fucking hell, I can't even begin to understand this. He's the last of his kind. Well, as far as he knows, he's the last of his kind. Yeah, that's a pretty damn good reason to force yourself to be with a female. Kai? I don't. I know, Plover. This is not easy for me to accept, but it is my reality all the same. Plover, my relationship with Kiara could be considered and labeled as, well, forced conservation. He straightens his back, jutting out his shoulders. I'm a Crypt Wolf. Duty and honor is woven into my very being since birth, and my duty requires me to set my personal feelings aside then. Kai sets his face into a frigid glare, like every part of him is trying to accept his own words, even if he doesn't want to. Kai sets his face into a wizard glare, like every part of him is trying to accept his own words. If he doesn't want to, then I will do what must be done. There's a large part of me that resents who I truly am, because I often find myself incapable of fulfilling this responsibility in the capacity that is required of me. As you well know, I have serious issues in regards to this. I, I am, I am inadequate. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I just have to help him in any way I can. Kai's duty is so much bigger than himself. Of course, he's going to try and force himself to be someone that he isn't. But I'd do the same thing if I was in his situation. Imagine some Zenithirian telling me I'm obviously to father the next generation of my species. That's no easy burden to bear. Kai, listen to me, buddy. I allow my paw to reach down to his leg, and I hope to the gods above what I'm about to say will be welcome to him. He doesn't pull away, but I wouldn't blame him if he did. You're not inadequate, Kai. Far from it, actually. What you're facing is something I couldn't possibly understand. I can't imagine the pressure that you must feel, the pressure to perform. I don't blame you for blowing her off as often as you do. Hell, I probably do it more often than you do, especially if the act itself is something that you resent. So I guess what I want to know is how do you plan on balancing these two halves of yourself? You're right, your responsibility to your species is the highest priority. But at the same time, you're important too, Kai. What you want matters. Your desires are important too, and nothing should be allowed to take that away from you. This doesn't define who you truly are, Kai. I saw a faint smile, remembering the words Kai told me just last night. This is just another stone in the river, Kai. Let it flow, nothing more than a whisper from the wind as it passes you by. And if you allow me to, I'd like to figure this out with you. My paw squeezes his calf gently as I try to pour my consolations directly into his body. Who knows, maybe allowing yourself to accept this side of you could have some benefits in your dealings with Kiara. Having the confidence to be yourself is a powerful thing, Kai, and right now it's up to you to embrace that, to be the most true version of yourself that could ever be. Kai reaches out to me, taking my paws in his, and you will accept me as I am, knowing full well what it is that is required of me. You are okay with it? With knowing that to honor bound, that I'm forced and honor bound to be intimate with another. I can't help but chuckle a bit at his concerns. Of course I'm worried. Okay, so you you are okay with it? With knowing that I am forced and honor bound to be intimate with another? I can't help but chuckle a bit at his concerns. Of course I'm okay with it. What kind of monster would force someone to sacrifice their entire fucking species in pursuit of personal happiness? It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to it's the right thing of me to be here for him in his time of need. He needs someone in his corner, if only to be a shoulder to cry on when the universe is the cruel bitch it has always been. I'm not saying I fully understand what the implications of this would be, but I do know that I want to find them out with Kai. Yes, Kai, that's what I'm telling you. Even in spite of all this shit you have to deal with, I believe anything is possible with a little courage. So let's just take it one step at a time, yeah? Figure this out together. Would you like that? Kai's tail starts to wag violently, and my confessing and my willingness to accept him as he is. We can't just ignore the reality of the situation, but that doesn't mean we can't try and change it. Plover, I've said it 100 times, and I will say it 1,000 more. You are truly one of a kind. Atherion surely brought you here to Zenithia for a reason. Yes, I agree, little wolf. You must not rush into this. My future dealings with you will reflect as much. These boundaries that you have established, or at least trying to establish, will be welcome and beneficial for the both of us. I nod, slowly withdrawing my paw from his clutches. So tell me, big guy, are there any other avenues you could take to get this job done? Like doing a deed through a surgical way or something like that? When you consider how many troubles you understandably have doing it naturally, it might be something to look into. Kai sighs once more, scooting himself to be against the edge of the bed as he scratches at his chest. The doctors here have recommended such methods, believe it or not, but Kiara has refused them. She has her own Kateran honor to preserve. in her own code that she believes to be the righteous one. She is equipped with, after all, same as I. It is fair for her to demand such events occur in the natural methods of our people, and trust me, I'm trying my very best to accommodate such needs. This is why I force myself to try and interact with her on a more intimate level, to go on dates, as you phrased it previously. Perhaps if I can develop a connection with her as an individual, it will allow my body to connect with hers in the way that it needs to, even if it has been unsuccessful thus far. I feel the fur behind my ears bristle up as frustration wraps its ugly paws around me. So she gets to have the right to demand it occurs how she wants, in complete disregard for what he wants. That's not fair in any way, shape, or form. However, it does seem like she's completely clueless about the fact that Kai is gay. Maybe if she knew that it is never going to happen how she wants it to, she'd be more understanding. I don't know her as an individual, and I don't really know your culture back on Kotera. But if she's truly as nice as you say she is there a chance she'd be, I don't know, understanding? Maybe if she knew the real reason for the issues you're facing together, she'd be open to exploring other alternatives. Kai winces at the thought of having to come out to her. I do not know, little one, but perhaps there is some merit to the idea of it. No longer can I deny the facts of what is occurring between her and I. It is relatively dangerous, to be honest. If the end goal is the continuation of my species, then every day and every second lost is precious. The restrictions here are connected to time, so the sooner the better, I suppose. Kai smiles a bit, allowing himself to relax in spite of the relatively heavy conversation. How about this, little one? I promise you that I will tell her the truth, and in return for such things, my chest clenches up, driving the air from my lungs in anticipation of what it might be that he's going to ask in return. And in return, you and I shall go on a real date, one that is not set up by some silly Zenilarian doctor in their attempt to foster intimacy where none will ever grow. Do you believe this exchange will be an equitable one, Plover? I will not lie, I have truly never been on a real date before, and I am more than eager to experience one. I feel my heart start to beat rapidly against my ribs. Did it just get hot in here? That sounds like a dream come true, Try. I know that with everything going on here, what with the murders and the pressure that comes with it, romance isn't really something that would happen naturally. Maybe that means a bit of real romance could be exactly what we need. We can't let this fucked up situation get the better of us. Yeah, figuring out what's really going on here and solving this mystery should be our highest priority, but I'm sure we can find a bit of downtime for each other. So yes, I think us going on a date and learning more about one another is a great idea. Just like I think you telling Kiara the truth is a great idea too. Kai's grin grows even wider as he imagines the possibilities of what his first real date will be like. He gets up off the mattress, standing tall and proud in the aisle between our two beds. Then we shall go on the best date the galaxy has ever seen. I can't help but laugh at his furiously wagging tail and beaming smile. What a doofus. God, he's such a sweetheart where he wants to be. Easy there, big guy, easy. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be true, but I'll try my damnedest to make sure that your first date is one for the record books. I keep chuckling at the sight of Kai practically dancing on his paws in excitement, completely unashamed at the prospect of experiencing something real for the first time in his life. Also, Planet, I believe I have an idea that you will like immensely. The thought of what a Quit Wolf might consider to be a fun date kind of leaves me a bit worried. Images of him trying to spar with me or teaching me how to fight started to warm their way into my thoughts. Now, maybe getting roughed up a bit by Kai isn't the worst thing imaginable after all. Shit, knock off, Plover. This is not the time or place. I'll tell you what, you focus on planning out our date and setting the record straight with Kiara. While you're busy with that, I'll focus on figuring out everything I can with the murders. Deal? Kai smirks, nodding like a happy puppy that just got told if he ate all his dinner, he could have dessert. This is most fair, my friend, most fair. I saw meet with Kiara tomorrow, explaining the situation to her. I hope that she is accepting. If she is not, well, I suppose we will just have to address that problem when it occurs. Regardless, I am very much looking forward to having you all to myself, if only for an evening. The thought alone has me feeling a bit giddy too, even if it's nowhere near the level that Kai is at. That's the spirit, Kai. Keep up that attitude with her, and I have a feeling she'll come around to the idea of you being who you are. He keeps nodding and grinning like nothing could tear him down from cloud 9. I hope so too. Gosh, poor guy. I wish I could just make these problems melt away for him so we can figure us out together. Things are rarely simple in matters of love and life, and everyone has some baggage that they bring to the table. I wish I could just make these problems melt away for him so we can figure us out together. Things are rarely simple in matters of love and life, and everyone has some baggage that they bring to the table. Yeah, his baggage might be quite a bit more extreme than others, but it's not like it's his fault, right? Kai didn't do anything wrong, and he certainly didn't ask for any of this to happen. He does not need any more pressure or stress in his life. Giving him something awesome to look forward to is exactly what he probably needs right now. Just one day where he can relax and be himself. Just one day where he can relax and be himself. Damn, I guess I'm starting to see it from Jason's point of view now. The dude just can't catch a break, and if just the thought of him planning out our first date has him this excited, then I'll handle everything else. It's not just me being nice either. I'm excited for it too. But at the same time, I'm a bit out of my element here with the task that I now have to tackle. I'm not some grand detective or anything like that, far from it actually. Do I look like Sherlock Holmes to you? Not a chance in hell. I'll need Kai's help to figure this stuff out. He was born in Andromeda, and I wasn't. I don't want to take the wind out of his sails, so I guess I kind of have to. Even Dreamland has to wake up eventually. Say, before you get to planning, do you think you could help me figure out a good starting point with, well, the murders? I'm not really sure what to make of everything that's happened, and that beautiful mind of yours would be a welcome ally, if you wouldn't mind letting me borrow it for a moment. Kai's tail stops wagging as aggressively, but it does retain a bit of its former playfulness. Of course, my friend, of course. You're right. We cannot be focused on improper things. We need to address the issues present. Well, we need to address the issues presented immediately before us and focus on ourselves later. I apologize for my excitement. I did not intend for it to be unbecoming or unwelcome. Tell me, how might I best help you, little wolf? Seems there's a bit of wind left out at sea after all. No need to be sorry, Kai. No need to be sorry at all. I'm just grateful we got the chance to work this stuff out. But yeah, I'm up a creek without a paddle on this one, so any help at all would be nice. A little thread we can latch onto to start unraveling this mess would be awesome. I see him casually tilt his head to the side as genuine confusion seeps into the lights of his glowing eyes. I will quake without aid. You know what? Never mind. I need to get used to your strange manner of speaking. I believe I can deduce the meaning of such a phrase. Hold up, my strange manner of speaking. Bold words coming from the Coteran that talks like he's straight out of a damn fantasy novel. He shifts his weight from foot to foot, visibly balancing the options available to him. Perhaps we could, perhaps we should start, perhaps we should simply start at the beginning, establishing what we know, and going from there. With what limited information we actually have, we cannot risk overlooking anything. Even the most minute detail could end up having cataclysmic implications. That's actually not a bad idea. The simplest solution is most likely to be the correct one, after all. It's also sort of the same advice that I received on how to handle star sickness. Focus on what you know, and all the things that aren't real will fade away into the background. Considering that half of me still wants to believe that these dreams are the result of star sickness, maybe taking this approach will work out well for us. Alright, let's play around with that then. What do we know? Kai runs one of his claws over his muzzle as he thinks about the question, considering all the variables. Well, there's one thing I still find troubling about the footage that Talos showed us. I'm certain you are just as perplexed as I am by the fact that the killer was not visible in the cameras, are you not? I do not know of any species that could naturally do such a thing. Perhaps there is something more to this than we can figure out. This is to say, we know that the individual responsible for the murders has a way to make themselves visible. Kai grumbles a bit as he tries to work out his own theory, putting his brain to work. You're right, I doubt it would be something natural too. If you remember, the victim on the screen clearly saw the murderer. He was visible in person. They have to have some sort of device, right? Something that can make them bypass cameras and surveillance systems entirely. Either that, or they managed to find a way to hack into the security cameras directly. But with all the peacekeepers about, that's probably not realistic. Someone would have caught them before they were able to succeed. Kai nods along, agreeing with my thoughts entirely. Yes, this is quite wise of you, Plover. This makes sense to me. Perhaps our first step should be to figure out what sort of technologies exist that would allow someone to accomplish such a feat. Well, I guess it seems that Detective Sherlock Plover has got his first lead. Or Sherlock Eco, if you're decided to go with the default name. Digital invisibility tech? I can't say that I've ever heard of something quite like that back home in Soloria. Andromeda and all the star systems here are pretty far ahead of Soloria in terms of technological advancements to begin with. Zenithia is still quite shocking to me in that regard. The energy pylons, the tech that the peacekeepers use, is all new to me. I guess that makes you the expert here, doesn't it? So tell me, big guy, know of anything that could possibly fit the description? Kai pauses for a moment, and I swear I can focus, Kai pauses for a moment, and I swear I can see the cogs turning inside his head. No, I cannot say that I do, little one. Koteros is comparatively a very rustic planet as well. We have our technologies, yes, but they are more catered towards improving the quality of one's life, not for hiding from security systems. I suppose our two peoples are similar in that regard. Besides, such technology will not be very effective on Kotera. It is equipped wolves that defend the things we consider most valuable. Being invisible to the eye or cameras would not make one invisible to the nose. He gives me a cheeky grin, tapping one claw knowingly off of his king's snout. Well, sit. Fair enough, I guess. If he doesn't know anything and neither do I, then I suppose this sort of leaves me only one option. If he doesn't know anything and neither do I, then I suppose this sort of leaves me only one option. My eyes glance over at Kai, attempting to gauge his mood, since I know he's not going to like what I'm about ready to suggest. He seems perfectly content, at least for a moment, and I almost feel bad about bringing this up. I know you might not be the most fond of them, but the only people I can think of that would know more about the technologies here on Xenolir would be, well, Atticus and Acadia. We're in unfamiliar territory here, and I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a guide. I'm expecting my words to have a pretty instant emotional reaction from him, but they don't. To my surprise, Kai doesn't seem remotely bothered by the idea, but I told him that the twins were in our dorm. He was not happy about it. This is not an unwise decision, assuming they are still willing to help us. No doubt word has spread here at Aurelia about our incarceration. Take it from me when I say that Xenolarians are known to hold a grudge. Talus does not seem like the type to try and remedy the opinions of others on our behalf, even if he was in the wrong to begin with. With that in mind, it is not unreasonable for us to assume that Atticus and Acadia will be unwilling to assist us in our endeavors. I take a moment to consider his words, ruling them over for any avenue that ends up in our favor. Well, unwilling or not, I still kind of owe it to us to try. The Xenolarians aren't particularly The Xenolarians aren't particularly thrilled about us being here, but that being said, I might still have a friend in Atticus. We still have to give it a shot, Kai. I mean, the worst they can say is no, right? Kai stares at me for a moment before giving me a curt nod. You're right, my friend. So this means that our first course of action is to get in contact with the twins. See if they are still on our side. He stutters a bit, a hint of uncertainty flickering across the violent depths of his eyes. Atheria knows Arcadia will not be happy about this. Considering how rigid she is in her Xenolarian pride, she might even be downright hostile towards us at this point. Yeah, as much as I hate to admit it, that's probably accurate. Lucky for us, I wasn't really planning on talking to her anyways. Now was I? Guys, I don't even want to picture the look she'd give me if I tried to approach her for help. Kai chuckles deeply, the rich sound of his laugh echoing about our room. That stare of hers could freeze even the great northern sea of Cortera. You can say that again. He blinks at me a few times, his grin fading away ever so slightly. I said that stare of hers could freeze even the great northern sea of Cortera. Do you not hear me or something? My paw shoots up to my forehead in disbelief. You're cute when you're this clueless. It's just an expression, but it means like I agree. I will work on these. You will see. In no time, I will be just as fluent in Solarian as you are. At least he has a good sense of humor about it. I'm sure you will, big guy. I'm sure you will. I stand up as well, clasping my paws above my head as I stretch out my muscles. The stiff from sitting down for so long during our conversation, my back practically sighs as the tension is released. With that being said, I think we have a pretty solid game plan. Kai's eyes roam my body up and down as I stretch myself out, a bit of hunger glistening in his horizons. Oh, do not think for a moment I have forgotten about it. It will be my greatest pleasure to take on this daunting responsibility you have given me. His voice is laden with something I can only hope is sarcasm. Well, what he considers to be sarcasm anyway. Daughter indeed. Until then, we should probably get something to eat and a bit of set-eye. I walked past him, opening up my ever-useful box of provisions and passed a few packages over for him to enjoy at his leisure. He sits on his bed as he opens them, and as much as I want to sit next to him, I hold back. I'm sure it wouldn't bother him, but after everything we just established with boundaries and whatnot, it just doesn't seem like the right time. I get myself a package of God's knows what and start to eat as well. I don't even really acknowledge the taste of it as my exhausted mind wanders. Kai, guys, I hope you and Kiara can get this shit sorted out. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to get up off this bed and go join you over there. I know it's too soon. I know it's not right. That doesn't stop me from wanting it, though. From wanting him. He's just so enigmatic, sweet and caring to a fault. The only thing the guy wants is to do the right thing, even if his methods of going about it are a bit lackluster. Then again, if I stop and think about it, he hasn't really done anything wrong. Yeah, he got heated with vultures the other day, but can I really blame him for that after what the Vulparians did to Cortera? He punched me, but only because it was culturally acceptable for him to do so. He did eat me, but only in my nightmare. Yeah, he's got this whole thing going on with Kiara, but it's not really his choice now, is it? All the red flags I saw, all the red flags I thought I saw in all the red flags I thought I saw in him, are just all the red flags I thought I saw in him are just sort of gray. They don't really mean anything anymore. Can you blame me for liking him a lot? I mean, how could you not? He's tall, handsome, smart, caring, and compassionate. All the things I want from a partner. I guess all that's left now is to wait and give it some more time, because I guess all that's left now is to wait and give it some more time. I guess all that's left now is to wait and give it some more time, because who knows what the future will hold. Maybe it's a star sickness talking, or maybe it's another premonition, if that's to be believed, but I just can't shake the feeling that being with him is right. I struggle a bit to talk to him sometimes, but that's to be expected, given just how enamored I am. As much as Kai would like to believe I am not as smooth a talker, that much is for damn certain. As much as Kai would like to believe I am not as smooth a talker, that much is for certain. As much as Kai would like to believe I am not as smooth a talker, that much is for damn certain. He makes me flustered in all the right ways. So for now, it's up to me to keep my head screwed on straight and focus on the murders instead. Fuck this goddamn murder mystery. I've never been particularly good at riddles. In fact, I'd say I'm rather bad at them. They make my head hurt, and I usually give up halfway through to look up the answer without figuring it out on my own. I just hope Atticus is willing to help me. He's so timid, always so scared and nervous. I wouldn't blame him for a single second if he didn't want to see me ever again after what he saw this morning. The thought starts to hollow out a pit in my stomach even if I am eating a good meal. The last thing I want to do is drive Atticus away. He's sweet in his own weird Xenolarian way. Yes, I need his help, but I also need a friend just as much as Atticus does. One that isn't Kai. I can't rely on him to fulfill all my needs here. Hopefully, after a good bit of explaining, Atticus will come around and see the truth of what happened yesterday. Considering how upset he was at the deaths of Nika and Jakar, if he's left alone out there thinking that Kai and I are responsible, it might be poisoning him against us even further. I'm kind of at his mercy in that regard, and what a twist of fate it is. I'm the Solarian, the descendant of the people who committed the largest single act of genocide in recorded history, and yet here I am, forced to rely on mercy from the conquered. It doesn't bother me one bit. Solaria deserves whatever bad karma we have in store for us from all those years ago. The state of things in my galaxy are indicative enough of that. I shake my head, hoping the movement alone is enough to stop my wandering thoughts. No point dwelling on things that are out of my control. If Atticus is willing to help, then great. If he isn't, well, then it's like Kai said. We'll address that problem when it occurs. My highest priority should be to get to the bottom of whatever is going on here at Aurelia by any means necessary. So tell me, now that we have finished our meal, do you wish to continue chatting or would you prefer to get some rest? Hearing his sudden question jolts me a bit, startling me out of my thoughts. I, for one, would love a good night's sleep after such an eventful day. I, for one, would love a good night's sleep after such an eventful day. Not that I am opposed to speaking with you. Not, well, that is not what I meant. I for one, would love a good night's sleep after such an eventful day. Not that I'm opposed. I, for one, would love a good night's sleep after such an eventful day. Yet not that I'm opposed to speak with you. That's not what I meant. I waved my paw at him, dismissing his sudden apprehension with a laugh. He's so unsure of himself all of a sudden. Probably has to do with the uncertainty of our dynamic, if I had to guess. Or perhaps this is how he always was, and now he simply has the confidence to show it. Dude, I didn't take it like that. I know what you meant, and I agree too. We could both use some good sleep. I reached over and grabbed my data pad, flicking off the lights. Darkness instantly bathes the room, leaving nothing but Kai's glowing scars. Good night, Kai. Sweet dreams. I roll over, turning my back to him as I scoot closer to the cold metal wall on my left. Plover. What's up? A moment of silence stretches between us as I wait for him to finish his thought. I know we have set up our boundaries, and I respect those. Truly, I do, but... I hear him sigh deeply once more, creating a nervous energy that captivates the atmosphere of the room. But we have a certain, let us say, tendency to wander off during your sleep. Thus it is irresponsible of me to rest. I will not be able to, knowing that something could come over your mind once again and leave you vulnerable to a murderous killer on the loose. I turn myself over, faces the direction of his bed. The glowing purple of his eyes pierces the veil of darkness, and I know he can see my expression as clear as day. What are you suggesting I do? As my vision adjusts, I see the faint outline of his paw fiddling with one of his attentive ears. Well, if you are not opposed to the idea, I believe it would be most responsible for you to sleep beside me in my bed. He wants me to sleep with him. Not like sleep with him, but actually fall asleep with him. I don't know what to say. I guess we did that last night, but I mean, come on. My hesitation must be visible on my face because Kai's voice comes out sounding eager to clarify. I assure you, I have only the purest of intentions. I will be respectful of you and our boundaries. To put it simply, I will not be able to sleep if I have even the slightest concern for your safety. With you over here, I will wake up. Well, with you over here, I will wake if you start to thrash or walk in your sleep. You are far too important to lose. With you over here, I will wake if you start to thrash or walk in your sleep. You are far too important to risk losing the star sickness. So please allow me to watch over you tonight. I'm sure he can hear the pounding of my heart through the quiet air, which doesn't really give me much room to debate the idea. Sure, Kai. I trust you. I slowly rise from my bed, making my way over to his. How do you want to do this? Just want me to get in, or he had just, well, he quickly Kai quickly adjusts himself, pressing his back up against the wall to give me all the room I could possibly need atop his massive mattress. There. Is this enough space for you? I do not think I can provide any more. There's a gap that's practically the size of my entire bed for me to lay in. There's no way I could be uncomfortable with the accommodations he's offering. Nah, that's more than enough, big guy, thank you. I clamber onto his mattress, slipping myself under his blanket. I never noticed yesterday that his I never noticed yesterday that his is weighted just like mine. That'll surely help me keep my mind from wandering to him. My body settles against the plush pillow and I try my best to get cozy. Kai's breathing is audible behind me, shallow and a bit rapid. Everything okay? I, I, I. I can't help but grin as I take a look at him over my shoulder. Come on, what's the matter? May I be allowed to touch you? Respectfully, of course. It would be better for me to have you in my arms just in case you start having a fit of a nightmare of some sorts. I do not wish to fall asleep and have you wander off without me noticing. My laughter is pretty instant at his feeble attempts to veil his true intentions here. Poor guy, he wants to cuddle, but is too afraid to ask outright. Should have been, should have seen it. Should have seen that one coming. That's probably smart. Go for it, big guy. I'm all yours. The mattress sits beneath me as his hefty weight shuffles close to me. I feel the frigid cold of his body pleasantly sapping the heat away from me as his chest lightly rests against my back. With a delicate motion, his arm drapes across me, tucking me neatly against his broad chest. His winch scent caresses my senses as we snuggle closer to one another. A contented sigh fans over the nape of my neck, his breathing almost instantly becoming measured and controlled. Are you comfortable, my friend? I nod happily, allowing the top of my head to press up to his muzzle. Yeah, Kai, I'm comfortable. To confirm that he's not overstepping, I pat his arm with my paw, giving him a gentle squeeze. I think the better question is, are you comfortable? He's so desperate to make it seem like he's not a horn dog that it's probably far too easy for him to ignore his own comfort level here. There's nothing wrong with desiring physical touch, which is something he's probably never experienced before. Yeah, he's looking out for me, but that doesn't mean I can't look out for him too. Kai smiles at me, and a chilled breath glides across my fur. Yes, I'm comfortable. Quite comfortable. His paw reaches down, grabbing hold of my pec with a decisive touch. Glad he's finally confident enough to do as he pleases, I make no effort to resist and lean back into his embrace. This is nice, right? I can feel him grin against me, a slight rumbling purr coursing through his body. Of course, Plover. His paws become more confident in dealing with their touch as he allows him to roam freely over my torso, soothing me into a gentle bliss. The icy touch strikes a stark contrast to my natural body heat, cooling me down in the best way possible. Plover. You okay? I can feel his body tense ever so slightly against mine, and his grip tightens, becoming a little more possessive. I know this is not my area of expertise, but I must say something before we sleep. I simply wish to convey to you what my instincts are screaming at me to be the truth. This is weighing on my head, even through my happiness at being here with you. Oh boy, this is gonna be good. I stroked the back of his paw gently as I wrapped my tail softly around his leg in an attempt to show him I'm willing to listen. Of course, what's going on? The tone of his voice turns grave, drawn up from somewhere buried far inside him. I have conveyed as much already, but I shall say it again to be transparent. Our shared history may make me seem biased here, and it is not beyond my ability to understand that I might be allowing it to cloud my judgment. But it is my judgment all the same. My instincts are telling me loud and clear that Vulturous is the killer we seek. Everything we know thus far says that it is him. I know that this might seem like a petty attempt at revenge, but I assure you it is not. It is a feeling, almost like a voice inside my head whispering to me that it is true, telling me that it is the Vulperian. It tells me that I must stop him, that I cannot allow him to succeed in his plans. My apologies, Plover. It is not my intention to desecrate this fleeting moment of peace we are experiencing. I simply thought you should know. The killer is Vulturous. My comforting movements stop as a chill creeps over my skin. A chill that doesn't come from his body, but from his words. I thank you, Kai. I appreciate it. I promise I'll keep that in mind. Let's just try to get some sleep, okay? Kai relaxes once more, allowing himself to fully decompress against me. Right, of course. You're right. Let us sleep. Good night, big guy. My words are almost incoherent as dreariness tugs at my eyes, forcing my eyelids closed. Kai whispers his reply into my ears. His voice, normally so deep and stoic, is laden with a tender softness, like a cloud floating across an azure sky. Good night, little wolf. I will be here when you're awake. Another tight squeeze from his strong arms destroys any remaining bastions of my self-control, and I fall asleep in his arctic embrace. Sweet dreams, Kai. I can't wait to see you in the morning. Seven days. This would be a good place to stop at. We'll continue from there next time. Alright, so about Kai's relationship with Kiara. From what we learned about her, or what little we learned about her in the earlier updates of the story, see, it could be kind of argumentative, and she's very stubborn to a fault. I mean, she's always insistent on doing things the way she wants, or going strictly by the duty of her species. And Kai just said himself that she's very duty bound, and that she wants to fulfill the duties of her species, which is to, help with growing the numbers. Because there's not many males left. At least according to Kai, there's not many males left. And she wants to, she seems to be pretty proud. And she wants to carry out the traditions of quit wolves. And that's an issue for Kai because he's more of someone who is not really strict on the traditions and duty quite as much as Kai. I mean, quite as much as Kiara. I mean, he is duty bound, but not at the extent of Kiara. I mean, he kind of wants to be himself. And, he's struggling with his, he's struggling every day to come to terms with who he is, really. Being gay. So, Kiara still thinks Kai is straight. And, it's a very hard situation, a very hard and difficult situation Kai is in, because your species is on the verge of extinction, and you have this duty to procreate and help in the recovery of your species when it comes to numbers and population. And on one hand, you believe it's your duty to help your species survive and increase its chances of once again thriving in the future by having a child with Kiara. On the other hand, you're really not, you really care about, you care about Kiara, but he cares about Kiara, but he's not really into dating women or females, and he's not really into being a father. He just wants to have a relationship with men. He wants to be himself and be with somebody he truly loves with, right? Somebody he really wants to be with. Excuse me. And I believe that person is Kai. Oh, excuse me. I keep getting the names mixed up, but I believe that person that Kai wants to be with is Plover or Eco, whichever one you want to go by. So he very much loves. I don't know if he loves me yet. Maybe he does, but he certainly cares about the MC a whole lot now. They did some intimate things already, like in the club. And now this new update, there's been some CGs made, and there were scenes in the earlier part of the story that didn't get any CGs, but those scenes have CGs now, like Eco or Plover hugging Atticus. And I think it was after Atticus offered to give him some clothes. Well, give him something. I don't know. There was some store, and Atticus offered to pay. So and plus that sex scene in the club, there's a CG for that now. There's no CG before, but there's a CG for that now. So anyway, back to about Kai and Kiara. He is in a tight spot, and it's something he's gonna have to figure out. It's either gonna be Kiara or it's gonna be Pullover. Now, at first he said that he was willing to fulfill the duty of being with Kiara. He said that if he's willing to do the duty, can't hear these birds out here. Anyway, he said he was earlier. He seemed to be kind of determined to, or at least it seemed like he made up his decision to have a child with Kiara. And then a little bit later, it seemed like he went back on that and decided that he was going to break the news to Kiara. But again, if you decide that you're going to fulfill a duty, then I don't think there's really any news to break with Kiara. At least there's something I'm not getting. So that's where I got my attention in this update with Kai's discussion with the MC. I mean, first he seemed like he's made up his mind to fulfill his duty to his species, and then it seems as though he decided to go back on that and decided to be his authentic self. And maybe because of what the MC told him, that he might have changed his mind and decided to break the news to Kiara that I guess he's breaking the news to Kiara that he is not who she thinks he is. So I'm assuming he's gonna say that he is gay and that he's not really interested in a relationship with her, I guess. I don't know, we'll just have to see. So so I looked ahead for what's next, and we're gonna have some time to talk with Voltris. So yeah, so will it go? Will it end up being hostile like it was when we first met him, or will we actually be able to have a somewhat decent conversation with him? Because you know how violent he got. Well, not violent, but he wanted to be violent with the MC because he felt that the MC disrespected him by the way he said hey to him. Because we know that the MC thought he was Kai when he really wasn't. So if you see the first time we meet Voltris and Kai mistaking him, and Plover mistaking him for Kai, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, we'll just have to see if things go okay with MC, his conversation with Voltris in the next update. So I think Kai is blaming Voltris not because of him actually having any real suspicions of him being a murderer, but the fact that he just doesn't like him. He doesn't like him, his people, for what they've done to his people. So he's putting his animosity on Voltris for the murder. At least that's what I'm thinking of it. If y'all think different, if y'all think differently, just let me know in the comments. I don't really think it's Voltris, but again, I could be wrong. I mean, he looks like he's capable of killing a Venedalian. I mean, he certainly does have the size and all the fangs and the spikes there. and him being almost 9 feet tall and all that, he definitely has the capability of doing what he did to. Well, he definitely has the capability to do what happened to that Zillarian in the hallway with that invisible entity. I mean, he has the capability to physically destroy a Zillarian much smaller than him. And I believe Kai does this too. I mean, I believe Kai does as well. I can't speak. So, I don't think it's either one of them. I definitely don't believe it's Kai at all. And I don't believe it's Vultures either, but it could be wrong. And in the video we saw in the chief's office, the assailant was invisible. Was invisible. Having a hard time speaking. Anyway, the assailant was invisible, so we really didn't get to see the killer, but we know that person was there, but this person was just invisible. So I think both Kai and Plover figured maybe it might have to do with Xenolarian tech, because Xenolarians have the most advanced technology in the galaxy. So I guess there's some tech that can make you invisible. But again, I don't know how advanced Votos' people are, if they have that capability as well. I'm assuming they might be just about as advanced as the Xelians, or I don't know. But anyway, we'll just have to continue with the story and find out. So, looks like in the next update, both Kai and Plover are going to go out and do some investigating. They got 7 days left until this entity decides to absorb Plover. So, hope y'all enjoy this part of Reconnected. Thank y'all very much for watching. Bye.